I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First order of business this morning is to approve our minutes from our September 28th, 2020. And Angie has passed out a correction copy that needs to adjourn the meeting at 2:24 instead of our chairman, Cupid. So I entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written, as corrected.
As written.
They're written,
Yeah.
they haven't been corrected.
I've already-
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Tim has moved. Entertain a second.
I'll say.
Bob the second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. We have nothing under our consent agenda this
I
morning.
wanted to
We need a motion.
Wrote out to you.
Okay, we'll go on back to this one.
Oh,
We have, we need to move for one tax abatement to the treasurer's tax roll in an amount of $366.50. Entertain a motion to approve that.
it's a Jacobs Creek Red.
Okay, Fred is so moved. Entertain a second.
I'll say.
Bob a second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried 4-0. And
Is this?
Yes.
we have no items underneath our consent agenda. Or set that one
Screen and should be good to go.
miscellaneous
Okay,
motion.
thank you.
Sarah. Or not any at this time.
Thank you. I know that's short notice.
We have a zoning and subdivision administrator, Heidi Harris. And I understand the people involved in this, the private property is unable to attend in person. So we're gonna be visually watching it on the screen up here.
Robert Davis.
I'm sorry.
Is that Robert Davis?
Yes, that's Robert Davis.
Okay.
I didn't get a number here. Oh.
Can you hear us?
Bob, can you hear us?
Absolutely.
Welcome, Bob. This is the first time we've had an experience like this, so we'll see how we proceed ahead with this. So,
Mine too, obviously.
Better go ahead and start, Heidi. I call agenda item number 1, which is a public hearing on case SU 2020-3. This is an application for the establishment of a privately owned seasonal recreation area and family resort, which may include arrangement for a related residential dwelling site as a special use in the A1 agriculture district.
Don't we need to go into public hearing for doing that?
Yes.
We do need to, okay, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll move. We go into the public
Sorry
hearing
for,
for,
Bob has moved to go into public hearing. Fred is the second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4-0.
What time are you going in?
Sorry?
9:23, or, wait, let me see. 9:06.
and it would be for this zoning case, whatever the number is.
I need to reread that already.
He doesn't need to read it, I can cheat.
I don't think so.
Disqualification declared and a quorum determined. Before we proceed with the hearing, I ask that the government body members, if any of them intend to disqualify themselves from participating in this case because they or their relatives own property in the official notification area and they have a conflict of interest or a particular bias in this matter. Anybody disqualified? If I skip over something, just please correct me.
Now go ahead.
I declare that we have a quorum of 4 present for the consideration of the case. Protest petitions. Has the county clerk received any protest petitions on case?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Summary of the hearing, I ask the government bodies members if they have received copies of the unapproved minutes of the planning board meeting for September 16, 2020, which summarizes the hearing on the case.
Yes.
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 I need to read that statement under the FES. I'll go ahead and read. Having determined that the members have received the members of the planning board meeting, we will proceed with the case. The governing body will first hear from the zoning administrator. Then the applicant and members of the public will be asked if there is any new information on this case. Commission members may choose to ask questions from the zoning administrator, the applicant, county staff, and the public. I call on our zoning director, Heidi Harris, to provide us with a report on the case and the recommendations to the planning board.
I'm gonna jump to the case booklet that you guys have in front of you, and then I'll work my way to the minutes after that. So the board looked at the case SU 2020-03, the applicant, I'm on the zoning administrator's tab, so I'm not, that's all along. The O'Brien Land Company LLC is the landowner and applicant. Bob Davis is gonna be the agent on their behalf. The other applicants are Barry Bartlow, Brock Bartlow, and Travis Booth. They're requesting a privately owned seasonal recreational area and family resort, which may include arrangements for related dwelling sites. The property is located at 1730 14th Road, Burlington. It's 16.3 acres. I'm gonna jump to the next page. That shows the ag use map. And then if you go to page 2 of the report, the adjacent zoning was discussed by the board at the hearing that night. And then the background information is below there. Do you want me to read any of that? Then the following pages of the report are what the board made for the factors and findings for the case. The board did do a recommendation for approval for this case, and they placed the following conditions on the case. The applicants will follow the recommendation of the sanitation officer for all requirements according to the Coffee County Sanitation Code. And the property is no longer used for a multifamily recreational or retreat area or owned by the Orion Company LLC. The special use will be null and void after 90 days, and any further use will have to meet the zoning regulations. Go to the correspondence tab, that tells what they're gonna be doing. It's the first sheet in there. And you pull out the piece of paper. It discusses the one, that's the current house with one-story house, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, kitchen, living room on a combination timber pier and concrete block stem wall. Then they have a proposed location of the addition, which is number 2 in front of that, but that's what they're wanting with the special use. There's a 2-car garage on the property, another implement building, a hay barn, and then they're showing you where the gravel parking lots are gonna be. And then they have a proposed one, and then where the septic tank is gonna be located. So those are the ones that were given at the hearing. They do have, within the correspondence document, they show a location on a picture in there of where they're planning to put the proposed addition to the house, which was all discussed at the hearing. It shows their occupancy schedule in there as well, of what they're proposing for the people to be there from July 1st, 2020 to June 30th of 2021. Then you got the notices that were presented, the maps, and the landowner lists, and the last tab has the application. And that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions.
Thank you for your presentation, Ivy. Are there any questions for the zoning administrator from the governing body members? If not, written communications. Are there any written communications or petitions from the public?
No, they're not.
Applicant's presentation. Does the applicant wish to present any new information?
No, I believe we covered it in pretty depth detail on the 16th. So unless something new has popped up, really nothing else has changed as far as our current use as well as the planned use of the property.
Okay. Are there any questions to the applicant from the governing body members?
Yes, Bob, I noticed in your chart, and maybe this is a Heidi question, that you expect no one in February, March, and April. Is it a problem if someone does come at that time? Since you listed none.
Typically, the bulk of our occupancy is during waterfowl season. And once waterfowl season closes at the end of January, there's pretty well nothing left for anybody to go down there for, unless you want to spend a nice cold night in an old farmhouse. I guess you can do that. But reality is, yeah, I mean, the primary purpose of our property there is really we're active during November, December, January. The other 9 months of the year are hit and miss, and definitely the remainder of winter is hit and miss as well, as far as anybody wanting to stay there.
The board didn't place a condition on the case to limit the number of people out there. So this was just showing what they were planning to have out there, so we know how many people.
So
would
it's
have
not
there.
a problem if someone comes in the middle
No.
of January? Okay, that's all I want to know.
All right. Oh yeah, but anybody within our group is welcome to stay down there. It's just more or less a situation that we don't have a formal reservation policy by any stretch, but again, it's contained within the family for all intents and purposes. So we don't obviously have any, we're not a VRBO. We don't rent this thing out online to anybody or anything like that. It's strictly within our family.
Any other questions for the applicant? Under public comments, does anyone from the public wish to respond to the applicant's information or provide new information on this case, not otherwise presented at the hearing? that should be brought to the attention of the governing body. Okay, applicant's final response. Does the applicant have any further responses to the public comments or any closing remarks?
Again, as we mentioned, I believe we covered it all, so, I believe I'm good, at least as far as what I need to do at this point.
Okay. Thank you for that information. Any commission questions at this time? The board, county commissioners deliberation. Assuming the governing body has received all the information that they need on this case, I will outline the choices provided under the state statutes for governing body actions, KSA 12-757C. We have 6 different options that the governing body can take action on. We can approve the findings of the planning board on case SU 2020-4 and approve the resolution number 859. We can disapprove the findings. We can override and approve. We can override and disapprove. We can return it back to the planning board for further recommendation, or we can table the case.
Can I ask a question? When we went into the hearing, it was for SU 2020-03, and this is approving SU 2020-04. Did something change, or is that,
It should be approved.
it should be a 3?
Yes, the form document took a different number.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
I just
it
wanted to
should
make
be
sure what we were,
approved.
so it's 03.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? What's the findings of the commission?
Is that number? It's either yours or Don's district.
I know the property very well because when I was at the elevator at the Leroy Co-op, we've done a lot of work in that area for various farmers. So I didn't drive by the property, but it's been 20 years since I've been by it. But I've been by it a lot of times. I know some of the people that's involved, especially the Kerry Trust Field.
I have not driven by it. I know where the property is.
I'll go ahead and move that we approve by a majority vote, move to adopt the findings and factors, recommendations of the planning board on case SU 2020-4.
3.
I'm sorry, changed one of the 4s, didn't change the other. Correct. -3, and to approve resolution number 859.
I'll second that.
Okay, Tim, a second, any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0. Closing remarks. For approval, persons agreed by the final decision of the governing body on this matter have 30 days after the affecting resolution is published within which to appeal to district court. For disapproval, persons agreed by the final decision of the governing body on this matter have 30 days for action, for today's action, within which to appeal to district court. We want to thank all of you who participated in this hearing, and you are welcome to stay for the remainder of our meeting. I call for agenda item, is that supposed to 2? I call for agenda item number 2.
You want to go ahead and make a motion to close the public
Okay.
hearing at
Entertain a
9:19?
motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Tim has moved. Fred is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried 4-0. Thank you, honey. Thank you, Bob, for being here and being a part of it.
Heidi?
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a great week.
Heidi, you want?
Thank you, Brad, for setting that up.
That was interesting.
Short notice too.
Yeah.
Jumped right on.
That worked out quite well. Really worked out good, so, yeah. Special thank you, Brad, for.
No problem. Glad I could do it.
Well, that hearing went very quickly, so Wayne, if you're ready, we will start a little bit early.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, Wayne.
Morning.
Wayne,
Wayne,
Yes.
so Tom's not here to sign this,
Okay.
so should I read it?
Oh, we could do that. I'll let them know if all signed up. Yeah. I think you like that as well. I have quite a few things beyond the motions, so take you right to lunch. That's humor. Humor in the morning. I didn't see anybody laughing, okay. We have one road permit. Big one on this is, you've seen a lot of activity out there on Old Highway 50. Evergy's out there setting new poles or proposing to put up new poles. That's what that road permit's about. They also increased their bond too. This is something that we have a copy to Angie on. They increased their bond up to 10,000, so that's an annual bond that's going to be in place versus the 1,000 that we've had in the past. The next one would be just moving right into the motions, if you don't mind. Just jump right in there and answer any questions you may have. So this one is, A is basically the disposal of the existing track loader. And so we did receive a trade-in, a value of $21,500 from Murphy Tractor. And the existing loader, we've already checked with Todd at Recycling. Actually, their loader, or their skid steer track loader is actually in better shape than what this one currently is. So we still feel this would be the best. We did go ahead and dispose of this through the trade-in with Murphy Tractor. Its current odometer is 3,127 hours onto it. We've had various problems, not necessarily just, stand out a significant number, but it is high for hours. And it was purchased in 2010. And that's basically the information I have on
Wayne, is that tracked?
It does. It has a track.
All right, with bucket or anything going with it on trade-in?
Yes, the bucket will go with it. As we see it, that's, this is the picture of it for it that we have onto it. And so that would be the trade-in onto it. We receive a bucket too, when we get the new one.
All right.
And so we'll have the bucket for the new one.
We probably need to clarify that first motion says a Bobcat skid steer, second motion goes with it is a compact track loader. Probably need to clarify that we're talking the same thing in both motions. One motion we're calling it skid steer, the other one we're calling it track loader.
Well, that's true. What we're purchasing though is a John Deere 333G compact track loader. That's how it's described.
It's still a skid steer, correct? Or is it not?
Well, yeah, that is a little bit, kind of goes hand in hand a little bit too. Sometimes those track loaders, when they have the tracks onto them, they call them a small track loader. But if they don't have the tracks onto it and it's almost identical and it just has the wheels, then it becomes a skid steer.
It's a skid steer with tracks.
That's kind of,
Both of them are that's
Yeah.
what both of them are, right?
yeah.
Okay.
We can actually, and then I think that would probably be more appropriate on that as well, Bob. So actually on motion A, if we would scratch out skid steer and put track loader, that would be more consistent to what we have, or the request to purchase. So,
People who have no idea would think we're doing two different items.
yeah.
Wayne, are you happy with the trade-in price?
At this point, yes, we are. The only other option that we would have on that one, Tim, is either one through auction, that we can hold it and retain it, is one through county auction, or two is through a sealed bid process, where we would open it up and we'd advertise that we'd have this piece of equipment for disposal. And then at that point, we would have formal bids that would come in on the piece of equipment. That'd be the only other way that we would be able to dispose of it, other than trading around within the departments. And I've already checked with Todd.
I did look online, but again, it is online, so everybody can put them on Machinery or any of the farms. And that just seemed, it's in the ballpark, but it seemed a little low to me.
But those would be the only other ways. If you're not wanting to take the trade-in or do the trade-in, then what we would do is those two options.
I could tell from the questions you were asking, you thought it was just a hair too low for whether it's good for what we're making a decision on. You know, I'm not gonna get involved in that, because I don't know for sure. If we go to an auction, you know, we may get 15, 18 for it, we may get 25 for it. That's
Correct.
what if, so.
What we found quite a few times is when we think it's a fair price, is get rid of it. We don't have to mess with it. We don't have to go out, put it on auction. We don't have to do none of that stuff. It's gone.
Too bad, and there is a commission on the auction.
And it may cost a little bit, may cost us a few dollars to do it that way, but it's gone. We're no longer have that responsibility.
So,
Thank you.
yes.
Okay, motion 2020-51. A, based on recommendation of the county engineer and approval of the county attorney as to form, move to find that 2010 Bobcat T300 compact track loader, VIN number A5GU35469, bracket L-013, is no longer required or cannot prudently be used for public purposes in Coffee County, and as such should be disposed of by trade-in to the Murphy Tractor and Equipment, Topeka, Kansas, for $21,500. Notice of the board's intention to disapprove of said property will be published on the October 8, 2020 and October 15, 2020 in the official county newspaper.
So moved.
Okay, Bob is so moved. Entertain a second. Fred is second. Any other discussion over and above what we've already had on? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0.
Okay, thank you. The next one would be the purchase of a John Deere 2020 John Deere 333G compact track loader from Murphy Tractor. And this would also include the trade-in of the of basically the Bobcat that just of the previous motion. Some information too is just beyond what this is showing as far as Sourcewell contracting. We also looked at the state contract, so give you an idea too on state contract. I apologize, I must be speaking way too loud. Get some feedback. On the state contract, we had $77,630 was their price. The Sourcewell was $72,840. So we done a little research onto this as well. And so, but the best bid would be using Sourcewell through Murphy Tractor. That'd be the additional information I have for you.
Motion 2020-51B. Based upon the recommendation of the county engineer and approval of the county attorney as to form, to waive the purchasing policy as to competitive bidding for good cause. Said cause being admissible program pricing with Sourcewell, formerly National Joint Powers NJPA Government Purchasing Alliance with Coffee County number 118463, and to approve the purchase of one 2020 John Deere 333G compact track loader from Murphy Tractor and Equipment, Topeka, Kansas. Sourcewell 1T0333GMKLF387325 in the amount of $72,840. Less trade-in value of $21,500 and the total purchase amount of $51,340, and to authorize and direct the county engineer to sign all documents related thereto. Funding for the purchase will come from the Public Works Special Bridge Equipment line item.
Can I add, you need to have general fund in front of Public Works.
Okay. Put general fund in place of Public Works,
In front of it.
in front of,
General fund, Public Works, Special
Okay.
Bridge Equipment line item.
thank you.
I'll move.
Fred is so moved with the correction of general funds. Entertain a second.
I'll second.
Tim is second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0.
And that's still correct on that one. No, it's general fund. But it had its own line. We're good? Okay. All right. We had budgeted 86,000 on that one. All right. Thank you.
Wayne,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to clarify for Tim, educational. A few years ago, we were told by our county counselor that a lot of times if we keep equipment to sell it, if we sell it to someone or actually give it to someone, and something goes wrong, someone gets hurt, they actually can come back on us. And what brought that up, we had a couple sirens, one at Gridley and one at Lebo. We were gonna give them to another county. And it was determined that if those sirens did not go off during a tornado or something, we, as Coffee County, could have been held liable, even though we were giving it to someone. So sometimes that's the best reason why you want to trade something in and get rid of it. Thank you.
That does give us some good clarification, so thanks, Bob.
Yeah, thank you. Didn't know that. Okay, the next one is, basically, these are traffic items. What we have is to put out the extra traffic control devices on Old Highway 50 from 75 Highway to Fauna. We're gonna need to put out or place channelizers, basically cones, what you have cones. So just give you an idea, 680 cones is what we'd need. We'd need 710 bases. And then we're gonna need basically D-cell flashers. We're gonna need also different signs, different signposts, all for that 7 miles to reduce the speed to 45, to put additional channelizing, which would basically be the cones along the shoulder of the road, to improve safety until the time that we decide to move forward with the spring project. So,
Wayne, I've been thinking about this.
yes, sir.
Really, do we think that the people in the county are not smart enough that we don't really need to spend all this money for cones and stuff? If we just dig the shoulder up and put it back, we can put a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit if we want, but do we need to put cones and new signs all the way? Most of the people driving are intelligent enough to know. I think cones just create more distracted. And we could create more problems with putting all this stuff on than not. That's just my thought on it.
We've had multiple conversations on it, and our last conversation was to basically move forward with posting the speed limit of 45, placing the cones onto it to basically improve edge safety. The cones themselves, as they're called a channelizer, that's what you're doing, is you're actually channeling traffic in between the cones. That's the purpose of them. You're placing those cones at every 90 feet. That's according to the standard. And so what you're doing there is bringing attention, awareness to the edge. No different than when you see, say, 35 Highway. You're going to Ottawa, for example. They're doing shoulder work now. You have the cones in place, and they're a safety measure that's put out there. As far as basically limiting our road use to only within county. That would not be correct. I understand where you're going with that, Bob, but it's basically, it's an open public road. And so open public road does not just necessarily utilized by in county, it's also utilized by the traveling public, and that could be from anywhere. So what are you trying to do is by placing these cones that have reflective tape onto it, not only for a day presence, you also have a night presence as well. Is keeping folks to basically stay within the lanes, bringing attention to it. What you're going to find too is they have found traffic studies awareness that when you have, say, a presence of obstacles along your edge, then what you're going to do is you will center the traffic as much as possible. You'll also slow the traffic too. And so those are all safety measures that they have found. And so that's what this is doing, is we're trying to improve the safety of it as we're waiting for the time or the opportunity to be able to look for a future project. I know that's yet to be determined, but at this point, those safety measures will actually increase the safety along Old Highway 50. We've also done the same thing on the Plant Road when we're basically looking at the replacement of the guardrail. We've had to place the cones out there on that particular road. We also use this when we had used our stop lights, traffic lights. We would place the cones along the edge of the road for those.
So are the signs going to be back off of the roadway, the ways? I understand. The cones are going to be right next to the.
The cones will be about 2 feet off of the edge of the road for the most
So they're
part.
not going to be right up on the edge.
They won't be right on the
And
edge
the
of the
sign
road.
will be back so that when people have to use the shoulder, they can do it without.
The signs will be placed according to the MUTCD as far as spacing edges and different things. And so for the most part, you're gonna see anywhere between 6 to 12 feet off the edge of the road would be your sign.
You don't, and I know we approved it, but you don't think that signs are appropriate, that we don't need to invest in all the cones?
No, I believe that basically by doing the 45 and placing the cones in, that you're gonna gain the greatest presence of safety on that road. So yes, the cones I feel would be definitely the correct measure for safety as we're trying to have a project there.
I'm not sure I agree, but since we made that motion to approve that last week, I'm gonna go for it.
Okay.
Not sure.
Okay.
Well, it's one of those situations, you never know exactly how many dollars to spend to make it as safe as you possibly can for all the people that's driving on that road. And are we gonna be driving that road every day or two to stand the cone back up? Because you know some of them are gonna get knocked over.
Yeah.
And people that's getting out a little bit too wide or whatever that may be. What's our responsibilities on making sure the cones are all up and serving the purpose they're supposed to?
They will be reviewed daily, and then on the weekend, they'll be reviewed at least once on the weekend.
To me, it's almost a plus to make sure they continue to stay in their place.
They would need to be. And there's gonna be times where either they're gonna be hit, something's gonna move or displace the location, so they'll have to be straightened up. It's not untypical for our construction season that we go out and actually survey all of our signs within the county. So when you're looking at basically over 230 some miles of asphalt roads, we're reviewing the construction signs that we put in place temporarily to make sure that they're still in place. I mean, they're put there for safety measures, and that's what we're doing. We also know too that when we do snow and ice, we're gonna have more issues with the cones, but we're gonna make adjustments as we need to. But they will be reviewed and make sure that they're properly placed.
I know I went to Ottawa Saturday on Interstate 35,
Mhm.
which is the weekend, and I'll bet 15 to 20% of the cones are laying over flat, or they've been knocked some distance away, so. That's the reason I know some of them get knocked over, so.
I saw that
Oh, we go
Sunday
on.
myself.
We'll go ahead with motion 2020-53, which will allow more time for questions. 2020-53. Based on recommendation of the county engineer and approval of the county attorney as to form to waive the purchasing policy as to formal bidding for good cause, said cause being 3 informal bid phone quotes were received for volume quantity of standard traffic items of public cones, of traffic cones, 30-pound bases, DC flashers, metal posts, and other miscellaneous items for increased traffic control devices on Old Highway 50 from 75 to Fauna Road, and to approve the purchase of said items from the National Sign Company. Oliver Canvas in the amount of $26,739.50. Funds to be paid from the special highway. Do we need to put in there the number of cones we're purchasing and the weights?
What you'll have is you'll get this quote sheet when we get the invoice,
Okay,
and so it'll have all the information onto it.
okay. Entertain a motion for 2020-53.
I'll move.
Okay, Fred has moved. Entertain a second.
I'll second.
Tim is second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 4-0.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, it's construction zone, you have construction zones, so to highlight a few things, we are starting on the Matthias project. That's part of this precast box that you see over there. We're also working over there on Oxen, and that would be to do the ditching. That's also part of the Matthias project, Matthias Lake project. The landfill construction, we're still in process of putting the filter rock. That's going to be probably at this point several weeks. Most of our crews now are, as I say, we're starting on the Matthias Lake project. So a lot of our crews are over there working on that project as we have a minimum staffing for the filter rock. But we're in good shape. We have the liner down, so it's just a matter of putting the rock down. And we're in the process of doing that. Fog seal, we're finishing up, as we had some discussion here last week, we should be able to finish up all these smaller secondary roads, low volume road projects like the Gold Post Road and such as that. So our intention is we should be able to finish that this week.
You know, the weather's gonna be pretty nice this week. We're finishing up the project. You're gonna have enough oil. That was a little bit of a concern last week. You have enough oil to complete the fog seal on everything you need?
Yes, yes, we will have. And then also with that, within the next 2 weeks, our striping should start. So, boom mowing, right now, there's gonna be a few locations, just due to the weather where it's always wet, but now it's dry because of the weather, is we are mowing back a few locations, to basically utilize the current weather pattern. And then what we'll do is start as early as next week. I know it's just a little bit beyond the 15th, but we're going to also start at that point as well because of the dry weather. We'll be able to get make more progress as far as clearing the right of way. And so at this point, we're also doing normal road maintenance, ditching, hauling rock to territory blades. And then that brings up one of the points that I have, and that would be consideration. And that would be some dust control. So I'm getting all this information here. What I'd like you to do is consider dust control. Since we're moving that 1 mile, we had that discussion here last week, and we moved back 1 mile to go over to Planter Road and such. To come back, to move our trucks from the shortest route possible, the safest route possible, which was Reaper initially, that cost is about $9 a mile for our trucks. Okay, so that includes the driver, the truck. That rate comes from FEMA. This is basically the FEMA rate for our big trucks. And so to quantify this request is we have approximately let me get that, make sure I have all that. We have approximately 4,200 tons of rock that we're proposing to come out of the Wood Creek Quarry. All right. With moving our trucks and such, so what that means is 15 tons a load. That gives us 280 trips that we're gonna be moving these trucks. If you take the $9 a mile, and we're actually having to displace our trucks a mile and a half, what it amounts to. So if you do the math and you come up with that extra cost to move our trucks back that different route instead of going down basically Reaper, that cost us $3,780, approximately. I'm just coming up with some numbers.
Hey, you're just figuring one way there, you're gonna be traveling that road. Of course, next year, you're gonna take that route also, so
We've
you're
been-
technically taking 840 miles.
No,
We actually were going empty up Planner, and then we were coming heavy down Reaper. But when we had that discussion, the direction was to go back and not use Reaper because of dust control issue. Now, keep in mind, and it was even said in that hearing or in that discussion, we're not the only ones that use that road. But we do have, as I show here, that we do have several loads, 280 loads approximately right now, that's going to be utilizing that quarry. So in utilizing that quarry, is our best route, our safest route is actually going back down Reaper. But our problem is we don't have dust control there right now for that route. Now, next year, the quarry, keeping in mind that earlier this year, the quarry has expanded its operation. So next year, the dust control should be applied on Reaper. That's going to be part of the zoning requirements. But that's next year. That's not this year. It doesn't take care of handling the 280 loads that we're trying to accomplish today. Now, a lot of these loads are the gravel road enhancement. They're also basically projects that was already proposed and planned on our 2020 project list. This would be also maintenance. It doesn't account for every load, but it does account for what we had planned, which is approximately about the 280 loads. So long story short is if you take a look at the cost as far as rerouting, and then if you take a look at the cost to do dust control onto it, we're looking at, let me get that calculation here.
But Wayne, if
Yes.
it's my understanding, if we have rain and stuff like that, there's not a problem us using that road. The only problem is we're going back when it's dry to prevent dust on that.
Yes, and that's true, but at this weather pattern right now, we have this whole week that they're saying it's gonna be dry, and they're not showing any rain here in the near forecast. And so what we have is we have this whole week that we're rerouting right now. But I'm gonna give you another option here, Bob, just a second.
But I'm gonna give you an option while I read it too.
Okay.
What's safety worth?
Oh, it's very much worth it, but I'm giving you an option here that will still maintain safety. If I can do the dust control, so what I'm asking is we had also looked at a half a load for dust control. This would be the magnesium chloride. Now, when we had bid it for $1.13 a gallon. That's full loads. That's 4,500 gallons for a full load. For a half load, they have to charge a little bit more, so they charge $1.25 for a half load. So for $2,812 for safety, we could actually add dust control for 5 homes that's on that route. Now, some of them already have dust control, but still, with having with that number of loads, you're really not gonna, it's not gonna be that efficient. And as dry as it is, it's not gonna be that efficient. So would be is just go ahead and spray all 5 homes. You got 3 on 17th, and you have 2 on Reaper. And so if we looked at dust control, I could order up dust control, and I could have that within the next day or two with your approval. And for under $3,000, maintaining safety, as you had presented, and keeping in mind basically our current weather pattern, we could actually make better that road for our hauling and actually save the county some dollars and wear and tear on the vehicles as far as extra miles. but just something to consider, so
Are you-
what's your thoughts there, Bob?
Are you gonna make those 280 trips this week?
We'll knock a lot of it out of there, but I can't say exactly how many on that one, Bob. So, but by showing the numbers as far as the extra cost for moving, the distance versus basically just taking care of dust control, which could last for several weeks, not knowing exactly what the weather pattern is.
Did you count in the expense we're gonna have for putting dust control and stuff down also?
Well, the cost on this, the 2,800, does include the cost for them to come and haul it and put it down. The only cost it doesn't take care of is basically our water truck. And so what we need to do there is actually spray ahead of
So we
them.
have to kind of blade the road up and get it in shape before we put it down.
I think we're in fairly good shape, but it's not to say that we wouldn't. I don't see where we'd have to add a lot on this particular one. What we've done in the past, as you know, is we would add gravel for the residents and shape, but then we also taken in consideration our cost to say, this is really maintenance, is what we're dealing here with maintenance. And that's what we've discussed before. So mine is I'm trying to come up with a way that we can hopefully solve the problem as far as safety, solve the problem with the dust, and then also solve the problem with the extra miles that we're dealing with. And this is the one I came up with. If you don't like the plan, that's fine. I won't move forward with it. But if you like the plan, then I'd also say, look at it as what we're considering to be a haul route. This is actually something in our policies that if we have construction projects and we have haul routes, then our policy is actually the county approves dust control within those haul routes. Okay. You can't necessarily say this is an, construction project haul route, but in essence, it kind of is but I have several locations I'm going to. What I'm trying to achieve is get from the rock quarry to the asphalt road, That's my goal. Once we get to the asphalt road, then we're able to get as close as we possibly can to the gravel road, to which we're going to unload the gravel at that point. And then keeping in mind too, that not all gravel roads, and that's not this case here, but not all gravel roads, actually the structures are beefy enough to be able to handle our trucks. So we also have to watch our routing. But our asphalt roads, for the most part, do have the structure capability to handle our loads. That's why we're always going to our asphalt.
Last week, we made an agreement with Wayne Hess, who was here. My opinion, I think I ought to finish out this year with an agreement that we reached a compromise with Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
That was satisfactory for him, satisfactory for you, and satisfactory to the commission. I mean, that's my opinion. I think we need to kind of finish out the year with it, because now we're going to have to go back to Wayne and explain to him what our changes are. So.
And that's right. I would have to definitely get a verbal that he's okay putting dust control in front of his house is what I would be.
The problem is you put dust control right in front of the houses, and I know that was a problem, but that doesn't eliminate the dust and the rest of the road if you've got traffic coming from the other direction. So I kind of agree with Don. That was an agreement we made. I just sat here and approved $26,000 more on Highway 50 because that was an agreement we made a week or so ago. We were going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think, I understand this week it's dry, it's going to be dry, but we're heading into where there's going to be a lot of wet roads and stuff like that. So I agree with Don. I think we'll continue what we decided we're going to do with this year. And then next year, we'll look at the dust control and take care of that stuff. But that's my thinking.
Okay.
That's kind of the way I looked at it, Wayne.
Okay.
And it's always good to look at different options. I fully understand that. Sometimes those different options are discovered and come up after the decision is made, but we're close enough to the end of the year, 280 loads. If we lay the dust control down, we're almost up. And if we got to blade the road and lay the water down, we're almost up to the same value.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to honor the commitment we made last week.
Okay. All right. Well,
Any other discussion on it?
I'd say we need to honor it.
okay.
Thanks for bringing it forward, Bill.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share options. And that's what I'm looking at. So, all right. And then the next one is This is Pleasant Hill Cemetery. This is over on 10th Road, just west of Shetland. All right, so on this particular one, if I could take this around and pass it around and show you. On Pleasant Hill this is on the south side. What it is, it's a drive that's actually elevated above the road. And what they're asking for is to put gravel on that, considered almost like a frontage road.
West to south.
Yes, sir. Yeah. But it is within our right of way. That's the thing. This is quite unusual. This is the only one that I can think of that's actually, that we have, that's an elevated frontage road per se within our right of way. This is not the, you could say, well, this is a cemetery road. Kinda is, but if it's within our right of way, it's still a county road.
Is it totally in the right of way?
From our aerial photo, it shows it to be totally.
Don't we mow along it anyway?
Yes, we do.
We mow along it, I thought we did.
But it is one of the few, it has that rock wall, retaining wall, it's elevated and such as that. Mine is if you agree, I believe all we'd have would be just one truck. We just unload one truck, then we take a skid steer to level it out. There's not enough room necessarily for a blade up there, but that's what we'd be doing. And so if you would not object to that, I'd like to go ahead and do that, but I just wanted to visit.
We've helped other cemeteries out.
Well, in those cases, we're off right away.
But
This one's on right away, and I feel that we're okay there. It is a little bit different once again, but we are on right away or within right away.
Yeah, it's got a different setup than what all the other cemeteries or what most of them I'm aware of.
The ones that we asked for, they asked for was stuff inside the
And most of
cemetery.
it's inside on the private property.
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it. So.
I'm not,
Okay, all right, that's all I needed on that one. Then the next one. As per policy, to advise you, I'd give this to Don and give it background. So what I'll do is just pass it around this way because it'll go back to Don. We had an accident of a telephone pedestal. I know, we hit these telephone pedestals, but they're not marked. The grass is taller than the pedestal.
This is another one?
Yes, yeah. And so with that, it was down in the Gridley area, down in that area there. But on this one, it's just to let you know that we hit it, and it was being reported.
I think I mentioned this before. When we do that, can't we go out and put a steel post right by them then? Because we know where they're at and what they are.
Well, actually, there's been some progress made on, since we've had those two over on Trefoil. If you go over there now and take a look at them, every one of those on Trefoil are marked. So the telephone company has actually taken the responsibility to mark them. I personally feel that that's where it's at. I feel that they need to mark anything within the right of way should be theirs to mark. And hopefully we'll start seeing that pattern where we find those that are properly marked, that we can identify them. It is very difficult, as I say, that we've had weather that did not allow us to go ahead and mow back to the right of way last couple of years. So there has been a lot of overgrowth that we're dealing with. And so that's where we're at.
They marking them just with a steel post, or they putting a white plastic PCV pipe up with an orange top. That's what some utilities are doing.
There's a various markers. I've seen all of them.
Steel post doesn't show up in 6-foot ragweeds.
I've seen that they have steel posts, they have a U-post out there, they have a fiberglass plastic marker out there.
Those
They have-
show up the best of any of them.
Then they have a post, a wood post, a 6-inch wood post with a plaque onto it, next to it. So that's what I saw on Trefoil, various locations, but that's the one I saw there that they actually added, looked like U-post on most of those. So, yeah. Okay. The other one, just to let you know, PBX had addressed the approaches on the bridge there on Emmer between 8 and 8.5. As they had done that here last week. Actually, PBX is addressing the punch list that we had. So there's a couple locations. One of them is going to be down at the bridge down at Leroy. that they're gonna address the underside of that, structure, where they had some punch outs on that one. And so PBX will be addressing that this week, and then hopefully we'll be finished with that one as well. We should be receiving the bids on Old Highway 50, this week. And, as I say, the striping should start within the next couple of weeks. So, that's all I have.
Any questions for Wayne? If not, thanks Wayne for all your updates.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we have the Osage County Rural Water District president and member here. Just go ahead and we're set up for a short break at 9:50. I'm sorry.
I'm going to take it.
You want to go ahead and take it?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, everybody fine? Move ahead. Okay.
They're here.
We'd have Mark and Daryl come forward, please.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Mark, do you know everybody? And Daryl, do you know everybody around the table?
I do.
You do? Okay.
We're proposing to replace our meters with electronic read meters. We have 359 water meters in our district. To the best of our knowledge, 206 of those are in Coffee County. So that's about 57% rate between Coffee and Osage County. We have proposed, what you have in front of you is a bid that we have actually accepted to purchase 350 of these water meters and the electronics to run them, the batteries and everything. Complete system is $64,000. That number at the bottom, the wind water has a promotion on, and that number at the bottom is without the promotion. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of difference in money. Darryl, what did you say that was? 50 something?
I think it's 54,000.
54 plus.
So there's a savings of 54,000 if we went ahead and bought these. So we're moving forward. There is a 6 to 8 week waiting period on these. They're behind them in manufacturing. We have agreed to this bid and we have ordered them, but like I say, we're going to incur some cost on installation, obviously. What this would help greatly with is to track our water loss and to regulate the water usage that actually gets used. So many times we go out 3 times a year and read our water meters, and we'll tell a person, your water meter doesn't meet what you turned into us. And they said, well, we pay $500 extra every month in the wintertime because in the summertime we want to fill our swimming pool and we don't want to have to pay for that. So therefore, our water usage doesn't always show the actual usage of water. So that would be one thing that would help greatly with this. Anything else, Darryl?
Just to put electronic,
So what are you asking? What are you asking us?
Well, we're wondering if there's any funding to help with the purchase of these or the installation, or any at all.
Well, I'll just say this, I'm actually on Coffee County Rural Water Board 3. We put in these meters, we funded ourselves, we didn't come ask for any money for those. We just figured that was part of our maintenance. If we wanted to improve the district, that's something we would do. So
I know
I
in
guess
past.
I know where I'm at then.
Yeah, well, I just know in past that they've said that if you had a project, bring it to the commission, you may or may not get help.
And I'm not running you for that.
are they going to increase the cost per month to the users?
No,
I think, and I may be mistaken, but I'm on Coffee County too.
Okay.
And when they put the meters in, I think the increase costs $5 a month, I believe.
And I will say too, that a few years ago, Coffee 2 came in and was because we had the fund for rural water districts in Coffee County.
Mhm.
2 came in and wanted to spend the money to upgrade to digital meters. And we said, no, we're not gonna let you spend that money for that. It's for construction and new something. So we didn't allow it for Coffee 2, so.
Yeah, I don't know what took place on the county level. I think they did increase our cost per month $5, but I don't think I'm wrong on that. So I didn't know whether you was gonna increase yours or not.
We don't have a proposal
In
to
place at this time.
increase. And like I said, we are moving forward with this. We have ordered the units. I mean, we're gonna go forward with it. We just wondered if there was any funding out there to offset some of the cost or anything, so.
Hope you have better luck with yours than we do ours.
Now, we bought the same system that the city of Waverly has and that has had for 15, 18 years, and they've had great luck with theirs.
Good, good.
As far as I know, they've had good luck in Coffee too, haven't they? Or they had issues that I'm unaware of.
Well, we were the first around to go, and we went with another company, but we're phasing them out, and we're going with another company. This may be the ones we're going with right now, because the other meters didn't last, didn't work.
How long does it take to install this device? Is that a 30-minute project or an hour project per minute?
They're saying if you get good at it, you ought to be able to change one out in 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
So
How many employees do you,
just have one operator and then a backup operator and then an office professional.
These have the receivers fastened to the lids.
Mhm. And the battery history on them, that's one reason that we went with them, is because we got a little more information by going to the city and seeing how their batteries lasted and how long they were good for, so.
Mr. Chairman, we refused Coffee 2 when they requested money for meters, and Coffee 3 didn't even ask, because I told them it was no sense, probably. So I'm not in favor of it for this. Now, if it was new construction or more lines in Coffee County, I might be able to change my opinion, but for just to upgrade your system, I think that's just part of maintenance that the system has to eat as it goes along.
I think we ought to comment on the project we did south of town. We just did a project for new construction, and that was this summer. We approved this project here because it was gonna save us a lot of money, and we needed to do it before the expiration date. We were notified that we couldn't wait till next summer. This was something that they weren't gonna do anymore, for giving summer discounts. So it's kind of made things a little tight for us financially with our district, but that's why we went ahead and approved this at this point instead of waiting for more funds to be available, because it saved us so much money.
that cost savings, if you have the funds available, there's no way you'd want to wait when you can save $54,000. So this new construction, that's done in Coffee County or Osage County?
It's done in Coffee County. It's on 24th Road.
Yeah, we upsized the line from a 2.5-inch line to a 4-inch line, 3 miles, 3.5 miles.
Yeah.
I'd have to stop and count it all, but
What's it cost to make that a day for 3 months?
we were in a lot of rock and had to clear a lot of trees, a lot of things like that. I think it ended up in the,
Or the new project,
Yeah.
24th. It was around 130,000, if I remember right.
130 to increase the capacity at 2.5 inch.
Mhm.
Again, I think that's just part of maintenance. It's part of what you do. We spent several thousands of dollars for a little project down towards the Leroy area, picked up 8 customers, and it cost us a lot more than that. And we actually raised the price of our meters to kind of offset some of that. So I think there's other ways you can do it.
And we had raised, we did a capital improvement charge of $2.50 per meter per month.
And I think you'll see what we see too. You got to continue
Oh, yeah.
raising your bases and stuff to meet your debt requirements, so.
Any other comments? Ms. Tim or Fred?
I'm concerned with, what we've done in the past.
Right, and we weren't aware of that.
I was unaware of
That's
that also,
my
Mark.
concern. We kind of set what we're gonna do.
Well, you set a precedent, so
Yes.
you have to stick to it.
That's my concern.
You know, I was unaware of, you know, what the county's done in the past. Of course, you can always change a policy too if it's required, or not required, but something would be a huge, huge plus. But based on what comments have been made, I think it's best that we let you do your own financing.
That'll be fine.
And we absolutely appreciate you coming in, Mark, and Daryl. It's good to see you. Haven't seen you for a while, so
Let's see.
haven't seen your dad for some time either. But appreciate you coming in and,
Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, why don't we go ahead, and take a short break? That's it. County rate, we've done that on the school too. You're talking about one down there. It's for 100,000.
Good. You? Morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you? So this worked well other than the feedback issue?
That's a great system.
I,
It's clear as a bell.
Wayne and I talked last week and he said they could do it by phone. I said, you got the technology? If I'm the public, I want to see whoever the person is,
Mhm.
put a name and face.
Yeah, they commented that that worked out.
Good.
I'm gonna steal it, you're just gonna lay it around. I'm going back for it. There's some more in that pencil's office. I'll try to go down there later.
I'm sorry?
Good morning, how are you? Can I
I'm
introduce
getting
you?
along good.
Can I introduce you for you real quick?
Absolutely. We'll be back in there shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I'm sure Angie and Donna will be back shortly. We're back in session. Connie would like to introduce a new employee to us. So Connie, if you would come forward.
This is Megan Baines. Today is the first day in my office.
Megan.
Baines. And she will be doing personal property. So she will be doing what Heather was doing, and Heather is doing what Faye and Marilyn were doing. So she's moved jobs. So Megan is our new employee to fill that position.
Welcome to Coffee County. Welcome to Coffee County.
This is Dawn, Bob, Fred, and Tim.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Just wanted to.
Thank you.
Russell?
Let me let Amber know you're ready.
Morning.
Good morning, Russell.
So, got the monthly report there, and probably one of the more interesting things is I testified in front of the legislature about their review of the Kansas Emergency Management Act, so that was interesting. That's the first time I've done that, so on behalf of the Kansas Emergency Management Association. Eric Smith's on that committee, so there was at least one friendly face. But, taught some CPR and did some other things that aren't normal, but are getting to be more normal, so. Any questions on that? Then I have, there's no questions there. As we do every year, we apply for the Emergency Management Performance Grant, and I have the application packet. And something we do every year, we get about, for doing Woodson County, we get $5,000, and then our Coffee County one is around $17,000 to $18,000 is what we get from the state from the feds via the state. And so I have a motion, someone want to entertain the motion, upon the recommendation of the Emergency Management Coordinator, move to authorize and direct the Vice Chairman, I guess today, to sign the Emergency Management Performance Grant document for fiscal year 2020 as presented. So I don't know if you want to sign that today, the sooner we get it in the better, or if you want to wait till the chairman's back.
I think in this case, I don't think we got any problem with moving ahead with it. Is that funds, that's pretty well automatically, you can get it?
Yeah.
Even though it's still an application, so.
Yes. You just have to have all your I's dotted and T's crossed. And normally you have to have so many exercises, you have to have completed so many exercises. But being COVID, this year they've waived all the exercise requirements. And, yeah, but you have to have all the right classes taken. And so whoever takes my position, if they don't already have those classes taken, they will have to get those classes taken to be eligible.
You said emergency management coordinator. Are you doing this or is Amber doing this?
It's interchangeable. I mean, I've signed it, and on the form, it's manager or director.
Okay, but you said coordinator when you presented.
Yeah, I didn't change it in the, I mean, it could be changed in the, motion. It's just an old motion I pulled up and changed the date.
If you are applying for it, you signed it, and it probably say director.
Probably.
Russell's read that motion over, did everybody hear that? I'm sure the video picked it up. Entertain a motion to approve, to apply for the grant for Woodson County.
No, Coffee County.
Change.
I'm sorry,
Coffee County.
yeah, Coffee County only.
Have you read the motion again?
Okay, let's go ahead and read
Read
it,
it
I can
again.
read it, go ahead, Russell.
Upon the recommendation of the emergency management director, move to authorize and direct the vice chairman to sign the emergency management performance grant document for fiscal year 2020 as presented.
Also move.
Okay, Bob is so moved, entertain a second.
All
Tim, a
second.
second, any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried 4-0. Andy?
That's the calm version.
Pardon?
That's the calm version.
What is?
Then AG has to sign it.
Okay.
And then, I need to send out an email to tell people who to direct stuff to officially as far as interim. I don't know if you guys have decided on that or not, or if you're talking about that later.
When's your last day?
I'm taking vacation the rest of the week, so basically today.
When's your official last day?
Friday.
Friday, okay.
Okay. I know, here on September the 18th, we received some correspondence from Russell on some recommendations that he made, but before we get into them, I think, I didn't look back up to see how many years service you've done for Coffee County, but I know it's been a very valuable service to Coffee County. And I know on behalf of myself and I know on behalf of the commission and all the employees, want to wish you the very, very best.
Thanks.
On moving into Ryan County. I'm sure it's a tough decision, but based on all the information we received, it's probably a decision probably the right decision for you. Now, we got to move ahead with making the right decisions on this end. So,
Yep.
Once again, best of luck to you, and I'm sure we'll see you in the near future, so.
Yep. Thanks.
And there is some refreshments, as I understand it, down in Russell's office from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, so we get an opportunity to go down and congratulate, or offer Russell the very best in the time, years ahead. We did receive some information for Russell here back on September the 18th. I don't know whether all of you had an opportunity to look at them, but, and I don't even know what the right protocol is for moving ahead right now. The number one question is to find somebody that can fulfill the responsibilities.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we appoint Amber Presley as the interim director effective 10/10 of 2020 until a decision has been made.
We have a motion on the floor by Bob to appoint Amber Presley as an interim director. Entertain a second.
I'll second it.
Tim is second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Maybe we first of all need to see if Amber is willing to accept that. I think I seen her back here behind.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any comments at this time you want to bring to the commission, Amber, before we kind of move on some of these others? And I see Wade has stepped in, and if there's any guidance we need from our counselor on moving ahead on this, certainly welcome any comments.
I don't think anything else really needs to be done today.
I
think we
wouldn't think so either, and it'd be good if our chairman, all five of us
all
back
five
there.
of us here,
I think it'd be great if we had Tom back, and he'll be here next week, so.
determine the route we're going.
Wade, do you have anything else to bring on this subject before we move on?
Nope, I think you just need to get an interim person in place, and in the meantime, can go through whatever process you want to go through to build the position later.
Okay. Do you have anything else, Russell?
I don't think, nope.
Thank you, Russell.
Amber, do you have anything else, or Courtney, either one have anything?
I'm supporting Amber.
Okay, appreciate you coming in and joining us.
Thank you.
That takes care of our agenda that I have in front of me, but Karen, are you here to bring us something?
Yeah, I have a couple of things I'd like to ask, if I could.
Okay. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning. The first thing I'd like to ask is, I'll go ahead since I'm 6 feet away, I'll stay back from here. What is the county's protocol if there is a positive case, either of an employee or we have a taxpayer / customer who comes in the building? What is our protocol for, do we have any protocol for closing the offices so that we can do deep cleaning? Or do we have anything as far as if we know they're in the building? We had a situation last week where we knew a person that was positive was in the building twice. And what is our protocol as far as, I called the health department. It didn't feel like we had something already in place as far as what do we need to do. I mean, obviously that person came in, opened the doors. Don't know if they went, we don't know if they used the restroom. We didn't let them come in our office. On day 2, on day 1, it just happened that we had too many customers. They couldn't come in the office, so we waited on them in the hallway. Found out later that there was a positive case. So I guess I need to know, what is our protocol? What do you want us as employees to do? Are we to contact
We don't have any protocol in place. And
How did we know they were positive today? How did we know that?
Well, the first day we got information from the county health department.
So that person was kind of in violation then, because they shouldn't have been out if they should have been quarantined.
Right, but then the second day, that same person came back in the building to do something else in our office. And of course, we knew from the previous day, so then I started contacting to find out what do we do. So, I need to know right off the bat, okay, here's the protocol, here's what we do.
I'm gonna forward that to our legal counsel.
So,
Recommendations.
so anything to do with anything COVID is gonna be, start with the health department, and I think for the county, for the board to be able to make a determination, they need to get some direction from the health department of what's happening. I was made aware of the situation that Karen is speaking of last week, and I think in all fairness to the health department, not to blindside them, I think someone from the health department needs to be here and kind of be a part of this dialogue as well.
Okay, go get Lindsay, please. We're facing a lot of new things with this COVID.
Well, we are, but my feeling is we've been facing it since March.
we should have things in place within, 6 to 8 months. We should know. I mean, if that person had actually come in my office, I would have closed my office for the rest of the day. And we would have wiped out everything in sight.
Well, this COVID-19, of course, is an entirely different project, and it's a ballgame we've never had to play before in any location, and maybe we should have had a protocol in place since this did happen, a month or two ago. I don't know. To my knowledge, we currently don't have one in place, but we need to develop something, I'm sure, to where department heads know exactly what to do when something like that does happen.
And that's where we were at, because, we left this customer out in the hallway while we're trying to get information, and this person is just sitting there staring at my staff, like, why aren't you letting me in? We happened to not have any other customers at that time, but I just couldn't, knowing what I knew, I couldn't let them in.
That's probably a wise move.
Well, and I went out, we knew where she had sat in our office. I went out, I gloved up, I masked up, I got the wipes and went and got the bleach water, and I took care of everything, and I put signs out, don't sit on this chair because we've bleached it till it got dry, but I think that we need to have, like I said, I think there needs to be a county protocol that we make one phone call and things happen.
Lindsay,
Come on up.
we'll let you sign in after you, Lindsay.
Sure.
The question that we have in front of us right now, don't have a protocol really in place when somebody comes in that is active, or we determine they're active, and then they come back in the second day, which makes it worse yet. And you're dealing with this on 7/24. We fully understand that. We're probably gonna rely on you to give us some directions on how to develop a program and how we respond, how our department heads can respond when something like this happens.
Yeah, so I guess I don't anticipate this occurring very often. So I think it's just dependent upon the situation. And we were able to utilize the resources we had available to us to make sure there was no risk. And I felt like we handled it. So I don't know that there needs to be an elaborate process in place. We worked with custodians right at the time and said, hey, clean this area, but there was no actual contact. We can't clean the air. And there was a mask worn, so I don't think I think it's just dependent upon each situation.
Yeah, every situation can be different. We fully understand.
Yeah. I mean, we wiped the surfaces.
Did this individual have a mask
Yeah.
on, any protection at all that
Yes.
was active?
Yes.
Well, my concern was that, like, I didn't have, when I called you, we had that person still sitting in the hallway staring at us when I wasn't gonna let him in my office. And so that was my concern. And like the day before, when we had been notified, we found out, no, they didn't come in the office. I'm saying if we find out or figure out that they were in the office, is there a protocol? Do we need to, I'm gonna shut my office down. I'm gonna shut it down and we're gonna clean it. And I just think that rather than, I am a planner, so rather than wait till it happens, till we get the next one, I want to know what is our, what is our procedure?
I think you have
I'm
it.
not too sure there'd be a procedure that can be put together that would address every situation that's gonna come up or may come up.
I think that it would lend itself, if it happens, that we're allowed to work with IT to monitor the interactions in the building. That would, I think, lead us to what we need to do.
I don't wanna, and I started putting you on the spot, but what direction do we need to go on this, the subject or the issue that Karen has brought up to us?
So since COVID started, I think I've been working with the health department. They bring issues to me. We correspond on a fairly regular basis about a wide variety of topics. This issue was brought to my attention last week. It was discussed, and I think part of what's happening with COVID is, I think, even still to this day, a lot of what's going on is reactive instead of, there's a lot of proactive measures in place, but some of it's reactive because it's new. And if somebody comes into the building that was directed not to come in, not to leave their home or to go into isolation or quarantine, and they don't do that, there are legal remedies in place. And I believe that that's something that was discussed. And, this situation was unfortunate, but Lindsay and the health department and who she relies on, both at the local and state level, are the professionals that we have to rely on in determining what the best course of action is. There's a whole manual that the health department has that I think Lindsay and others in her field rely on. So if you were to ask me if this situation were to come up again, I would go straight to the health department. I'd say, Lindsay, you're the professional. You have the background training and experience in this field. What's next? What needs to be done to deal with the situation? And that's where I would go. If it involves anything that has to do with legal action, then we can discuss that, and I can take those, I can make those recommendations. So unless Lindsay comes to me and says, we have an issue where we need to come up with some alternate plan, then that's where we are. And from what I understand, from speaking with Lindsay and listening to what she said, not only last week, but today, the issue was handled in the best way that it could have been handled. And if unless there's something different that Lindsay would recommend on behalf of the health department, I don't know what that would be.
I think, Karen, your action of wanting to close for your office to clean, that's acceptable. I mean, absolutely. If I think anyone would want to do that in our cases, but I don't know that I don't know that there needs to be a policy on it. I think the policy part for me would be making sure we have access to IT to help us figure it out. And that, I think, went really well from my experience. I mean,
open video to see who she was in contact with and for how long.
Yeah. And I think one thing that we could change that was not needed in this case, but is if something needs to be verified over somebody's personal phone, that county employees not handle the personal phone. There was, I think, some credit card stuff, and I'm like, okay, nobody touched somebody else's phone, because our staff had brought it to their face to use someone else's phone. So maybe next time. That's the policy I would create. But
and you correct me, Lindsay, I think what Karen is saying is they come into her office, she will close her office and clean it, which I think that's appropriate answer. I think every department head should be probably thinking the same thing. You do what you can, but we're probably going to have people who violate their rules and come in. We may have some of that happen, but that's what life is, I guess. But I think that what Karen suggests is probably the appropriate thing. And then you bring the janitors in to clean the hall or whatever you need to do, or go clean them, whatever.
I know I had my staff was very stressed the rest of the day, knowing that this person could just walk in and, it was a very stressful day for the rest of the day. When you had 3 of them on quarantine, none of those 3 want to go back on quarantine. And so they're worried about that, the illness of it and everything else. So, like I said, I'm a planner. So I want to say, okay, if this happens, then this happens. If this happens, then this happens. I play out scenarios in my head for everything. So I like to try to have a plan and I'm not surprised and I know what to deal with. So,
with all the different scenarios, and I appreciate where you're coming from, but with all the different scenarios that may possibly happen with the virus that's going on, it's almost impossible to come up with an exact plan that'll fit every situation. So, like Wade said, department heads need to handle it the best way they can, keep it as safe as it possibly can for everybody, and that's always our objective, and that's our plan. And, you know, we have great people in the health department under Lindsay and people under that, you know, can answer your questions and do a great job and hopefully keeping our facilities as safe and as clean as we possibly can from the virus. So you're not getting an exact answer, maybe like you thought we ought to try to put in place, but I'm not sure there is an exact answer.
The disadvantage is that outside of the health department, whoever is positive, unless you're in that circle, you're not gonna know. And there's a reason why that's protected health information. Now, you would hope, and I guess I would assume that if someone is ordered into isolation or quarantine because they're positive, they're not gonna come out. But some people apparently, and Lindsay probably knows better than I do, but the majority of the people, they follow those rules. And they don't come out because they don't want to be part of the transmission of this disease. And that's for the safety and well-being of everybody. I don't know what the issue was in this particular case, but I think it's been addressed. So I think we have to take it on a case-by-case basis. We deal with the same type of situation in the courtroom because we have some cases that are live in the courtroom right now. And there have been some people who have come in and, well, I should probably be quarantined, but I don't want to come in. I don't want to end up not coming to court and then end up having a warrant out for my arrest. And, you know, if you have that, but, well, why are you here? And have to handle that kind of a case-by-case basis. But each department head should use their discretion. If it happened in the county attorney's office, I would call Lindsay and say, Lindsay, what do we need to do? And depending on what that recommendation is, if that means I need to shut down the office for a day or however many days, then that's what we're gonna do because I'm not gonna put people at risk. That's just not gonna happen. And I think Karen, as a department head, has that same discretion. And is it convenient? No, but that's just what time we're in.
Any other comments from the commission? Karen, we do appreciate you coming in.
okay, I had one other thing too.
Lindsay, thank you.
Yeah, this pertains to that. Myself and some of my employees have gotten information that there were some employees that had possibly, I don't know whether you want to call it theft of identity or, and myself and my staff would like to know, has there been, why there wasn't anything mailed out so that we could all be aware so that we could be watching our, you know, personal credit reports, credit cards, social security information, whatever, so that we could be more alert to it.
Where did you get the information? I know nothing about what you're speaking of.
Nor do I.
Okay, well, I was told the information, I went directly to one of the employees. I was told there was 3 employees that had something happen that had to do with their information. One of them got stuff from unemployment. The one I spoke to got information from unemployment, said her unemployment was accepted. And she was still working. So obviously it came from somewhere, we don't, I mean, she said she didn't know, but, and I'm not saying that it was, I'm not saying it was from the county. I'm just saying if in fact it did happen to 3 county employees, then I think all the employees need to be given a heads up that this has went on and that you should be aware of phone calls, watch your mail, things like that, because if I get something from the Department of Labor, I'll be the first to tell you, I don't open my personal mail at home every night.
Did they report it to the sheriff?
That I don't know. I know that, I will tell you, this person had a sheriff's office employee show up at her house.
I'm just thinking that if it's not reported and no one knows about it, how can we respond?
So I'll jump in. I was made aware of the situation. My understanding is there were 3 county employees that had, well, the county employees may not have been notified at that point in time through the mail themselves, but the county is notified. And the county is notified when someone files for unemployment benefits. In these particular cases, the county received the notice. And then obviously the county looks into it, discovers that those employees are still employed and they should not be receiving it. So those county employees were notified, and fast forward a little bit of time, it's an issue that's rampant, not only across the county, but across the state. There's a number of people who have fraudulently had someone apply for unemployment benefits through the state of Kansas. And Coffee County has at least 3 employees, to my knowledge, that occurred. It was reported, it's being investigated, but here's the deal. If somebody makes that type of claim, the county is going to be notified. So if the county is notified, the county can stop it, and the county notified the Kansas Department of Labor to let them know that it's fraudulent, and then law enforcement is going to be looking into it. But if that's going across the country and nationwide, maybe why it wasn't sent out to all the employees is if it comes in, the county is going to be notified first. The Department of Labor has to send that information to the employer, which would be Coffee County, and then the county would then notify the employees, which was done in this case. So I guess an email can be sent out to every single county employee, but the county is notified when a fraud, anytime unemployment is requested, the county is notified regardless. These just happen to be fraudulent.
My question.
I'm not sure anything needs to be sent out to the employees on that. I mean, that's individual employees just taking a step and trying to increase their income or do something that's not legal, and the county receives information immediately upon the request.
But
To me, this is different than what you're talking about.
They didn't request the unemployment, and my theory is if somebody got a hold of their information to do something with the unemployment, yes, that we might be able to stop that at the county level, but what else are they doing with that information? I know personally, I have had 2 phone calls. Voicemail, they've left voicemail, because I don't answer the phone, but something about fraudulent activity and Social Security. I find it odd that I got those just in the past week.
I get those all the time.
Well, I mean, I get certain phone calls all the time, but like I said, I went in and froze my credit report because I don't know who has all of our Social Security numbers, where it's at, who got a hold of some people's information, but I know personally, I want to do what I can to protect me. So I'm just saying, I think that our employees deserve that right to know that there has been or is a situation and that they should be notified so then they can do whatever makes them feel comfortable to take care of themselves.
Don, could I speak
Yes,
to that?
yes, Angie.
So we just got notification last week, and it would have been after the commission meeting, that some people had gotten these unemployment. Well, actually, there was one person first, and then the other 2 came in midweek. We did talk to Wade about it. It's through the Kansas Department of Labor, had nothing to do with the county at all. So we had talked to Wade about it. We were kind of waiting to see what we could find out before we alarmed everyone because we don't really know what's going on either. So this is my first chance to even get to talk to you about it. So Karen's beat me to it. We weren't to round table yet. I wasn't,
But before we put anything out to our employees, we need to absolutely be assured that it's factual information we're putting out.
Right.
And right now, there's too much what if.
Well, we're trying
I
to
think
find
we
out.
just put it out.
Yeah, it's out. I mean, but at this point, I don't see any huge alarm for employees yet. I mean, I think everyone should monitor their credit reports all the time anyway. I mean, in this day and age, anything can be stolen any moment, any time. But I can guarantee nothing from this county has been put out there. It's something through the Department of Labor. We do know that. So, I would just say at this point, people should be monitoring their credit anyway, just because of the nature of the world we live in.
But we get alarms every day.
Yeah.
From fraud, can't think what I want to say.
And
Trying to gain information on us. And it's just an everyday occurrence. So we're already aware of what's going on. I don't think we need to take it any further myself.
And the Department of Labor was having to look into it too, to find out, could someone have gotten their form? Are they putting that out somehow? I mean, you can get names out there all day long, just like we did for the advanced voting applications that were sent out. Those were not sent out from my office. They were sent out from an outside agency. So information is out there. It's just how people get it.
Yeah.
So,
And if those type of people want to get it, they're going to get it,
yeah.
one way or the other.
So as we continue to find out what's going on, if it appears that it could be something, but I mean, I guess at this point, since we're on live World Wide Web, I mean, everybody just keep a watch at this point in time. I can also follow up with an email, but I hate to alarm people when I don't know where we're at, so.
All those people
I guess
are
we
going
can
to be
alarm them
notified. All those people are going to be notified. They're already aware of the scheme, possible schemes anyway.
Yeah, and like Wade said, it is statewide, so whatever's going on is statewide, so we just don't know.
I just think if you're trying to be transparent and open with your staff, that you let them know. You say, it may be nothing, we think it happened here. You give them the reassurance, but you give them the tools they need to feel comfortable with protecting themselves. You don't wait until it happens to one of them, and then them being upset and trying to figure it out. Let them have a heads up, let them be aware.
Well, I don't know if anything else. Karen, appreciate you coming in.
Okay, thank you.
I think that completes our agenda plus our other guests that were here, ready for round table. Wade, what do you have for us today?
The only thing that I'm gonna mention today, and I thought about the Goldberg, the architect. My suggestion on that is the next meeting is the 12th. Is that right?
The 12th, well, 12th and 13th, I think is what it's. Because we got that fence viewing that afternoon on the 12th.
I didn't write it down. I didn't bring it.
Joe said it's set up right now for the 12th. and 13th.
That's the fence viewing.
Yeah, not the fence. The
Oh, the
Goldberg.
Goldberg memo just said 12-13.
So it's on the 13th. So my suggestion is right now for that, because I know last week it came up whether that should be with the entire commission or no commissioner. And I would suggest at least that that's to allow that meeting to go on as scheduled with one commissioner. And then some of those issues, I plan on being there. I'll bring it up with Mr. Goldberg and then I'll have a recommendation from that point forward. My concern is if we don't have someone from the commission there, then we're having a transition in sheriff. We now have a transition from Russell to Amber, and for a little bit of continuity, at this point, I'm the only one now because we started off with Cody, Commissioner Haddock.
Well, actually, we started with me before Cody, but
Right, well-
Cody and I were there to start out with.
So now we have multiple people, and because of what a significant, how much significance this has to Coffee County, I think some continuity is important. So I don't have a final answer right now, but I want to make sure before we do anything haphazardly that we get the input and feedback from Mr. Goldberg, who's done, to my understanding, at least from what he said during one of those meetings, around 300 of these, at least on the jail side. So it's not his first rodeo, and he may have some insight and feedback to present as well. So that's my thought on that. And if that's okay with everyone, that's my recommendation right now.
And one other thought you might have about that is we're gonna have a new commissioner who's gonna be involved in on that too. It might be that we want to start involving him in those discussions if we involve the rest of the commission, because he's going to be one making decisions.
Sure.
So, Mr. Vice Chairman, I can forward those emails that I get from Goldberg to Jesse if everyone would like for me to do that.
They're public information.
I don't see.
I'd say no problem in forwarding it on to Jesse. I mean, he's gonna be a part of the teams.
Okay, I'll need to get your,
Anything else, Wade?
No, not for today.
So you got a quote.
It's a simple quote. Well, two quotes. One, there's, I think it's an African proverb. Basically, it says, when the elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. So, that's determine who's the elephant, who's the grass. And I think that has wide applicability across the board. The second one is, I'm not sure exactly the origin. It's a proverb from somewhere, but he who angers you conquers you. So if you get angry, you let somebody conquer you. Don't let it happen. Yeah. That's all we got. Those are just two that I live by right now.
Thanks, Wade. Angie, you have anything for round table?
No, I guess not at this
We
time.
got that covered. Tim?
On the Kansas Association of Counties, have we determined what we're gonna do on that?
I'm not doing anything.
Nor am I.
And I haven't went through and looked at, what they have in this
I was gonna get
flyer
on
that they
Zoom,
put out.
if it's okay, on Tuesday, October the 13th at 10 o'clock. And then Tom was gonna get on Wednesday. If that stands okay, that's what we'll plan on doing, or I will, on Tuesday.
And Tom, if he does, will be on Wednesday the 14th then.
Yes.
to actually do the voting.
Pardon?
To actually do the voting.
Yeah. I'll take a look at this and check back with you if I think there's any particular things. But,
Right.
anything else, Tim?
I believe that right now that was gonna be it.
I don't have.
Fred, do you have anything? Bob?
No, to follow Wade. Sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield.
I hadn't heard that that saying before, Bob.
Can I back up?
Okay.
If I
After that, sure, back up and start over.
Start over? No. Economic Director apps. What does anybody think about application of Kim, if I'm pronouncing it right?
I just want to say, I thought he had some good points, and one of the points he made is we really need to decide where we want to go. And I don't think we as a commission have decided that yet. I think we just keep reaching out, but I don't think we really decided where we want to go. So I think that probably should be the most important thing we should do before we do anything.
I haven't visited with Rhonda, since we got here last week and see what her thoughts were, but I still think it'd be important to fill that position if we could find that right candidate. But it seems like our applications, we do have 2 applications in hand now, candidate 3 and candidate 4. But our chairman will be back next week and we probably need to make some firm decisions. And I think, our chairman needs to be a part of it. And
I understand you have one.
we got the one that was here last week, and we got this one here that we have taken action on.
Was he presenting last week? Was he actually an application he was presenting?
Technically, so this is the same thing that he submitted back in January or February. We received this application back in January and February and didn't take any action. And that's the one that Rhonda got about 10 days, 2 weeks ago.
Most I've seen that one.
Yeah. That one passed out here last week, I think.
I think she asked for everyone to stop by and pick them up, and everyone did, I thought, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't say for sure either. I know I got mine from Rhonda's all of them.
From Rhonda.
I don't have anything else that I'm aware of. Donna, you have anything to bring forward?
No, just the Leroy flu shot clinics tonight at the fire station from 5:30 to 6:30.
I'm sorry?
The Leroy flu shot
Okay,
drive-through
yeah.
clinics at the fire station tonight from
They got a
5:30
lot
to
of, they got a
6:30.
lot of sign down there to promote that. It's been down there about 10 days, 2 weeks, so.
Okay, that's all I have.
Okay.
I have one other thing.
Sure, Bob.
Just for and Fred, we had 113 drawn last week. So that's the most we've ever had.
Good.
But we actually did it before Burlington did theirs, so I think that had something to do with it, but that was a record for us.
Okay. Once again, our refreshments or some food down at Russell's office, where we wish firsthand best of luck. So with no other business at hand, we'll adjourn at 11:03. Oh.